Michael McDermott. As we know, a few weeks ago, Clare were due to play Galway in the memorial for the Michael O'Shea Fund. It was supposed to be held in Kilkee, obviously with circumstances beyond their control. That game has been postponed, and the Clare footballers have gone on an initiative to promote the Michael O'Shea initiative for the West Clare Kilkee Cancer Centre and Regina House Palliative Centre in Kilrush. They have donated a jersey, from a piece of jersey of equipment, and from all 38 members of the Clare football panel to aid the Michael O'Shea Memorial Fund. So far, it has in total 17,000. They had a target of 10,000. And on May the 9th, there will be a raffle for anyone who's donated more than €15. They will go into a draw to receive receive a jersey or a memorial piece from the Clare football panel. I suppose, Michael, you were the Clare football manager from 2010 to 2012. Before that, you were very successfully the Kilmurray Bricken manager, going, as we know, that famous year for Kilmurray Bricken in 2008, going virtually unbeaten, a pure domination of the Clare club scene and Munster as well. I'm just going to start, Michael, by asking you, before you took the inter-county job with Clare, you would have probably, Kilkee were still a powerhouse then. They would have won the Clare Club Championship to Jack Daly only in 2005. Erog would have been won it in 2006, and Lisa Casey in 2007. So Kilkee were still a powerhouse in terms of Clare football in roughly in the 2008, 2007. They weren't on the decline, but Michael O'Shea and David Russell, as we know, were two catalysts to that. And tell me, as a manager and the club scene, how difficult was it to prepare for someone like Michael O'Shea?
Yeah, he was very elusive, because in the number of years spent with Kilmurray Bricken, one of our county finals was actually won against Kilkee, and Michael O'Shea was playing that day. I think it was our second year. The first year we beat Liscannor, the second year was Kilkee. But he was difficult. He had a knack, and he had a habit of getting loose no matter how tightly you tried to mark him. And when he did get the ball, he was dangerous, because he was great vision, great speed on the ball, and great movement a lot of the times as well. And he was a good man to link play. So every time we played Kilkee with Kilmurray and Bricken in particular, it always had to be a man-marking job. Shane Hickey got the job a number of times. Marty McMahon got the job a number of times. But he was a key man that you had to try and eliminate out of the game.
Yeah, I suppose, Michael, heading into those county finals, and an awful lot of analysis is done on the opposition. And would you have been going into that week or 2 weeks before that final, would you have designated a training session just to go through with Shane, go through with Marty, talk them through how they would pick up Michael O'Shea, and in terms of when he dropped deep and got on the ball? And was part of your session dedicated on how to stop him, really?
Well, not in particular himself, because they had an awful lot of other dangerous forwards to do back in the day, Kilkee, between Micheál Keane and a number of other guys as well. But with Michael, his main threat was in your half of the field, and if he went back deep and took the ball in the other half of the field, we would have always just let him off and used the extra defender to our benefit, because when he was in his own half of the field on the ball, he was very, very accurate with a long-distance kick pass. So it gave us the opportunity of having a sweeper to eliminate that. But once he came across that halfway line, it was man-to-man marking then with himself. He had a big influence on any game when he came inside into the forward line. He's a player most notable for his forward play, but he would have equally been as comfortable as a wing-back, even coming attacking from that role as well. Very versatile player.
And I suppose, Michael, when you transitioned in onto the Clare senior football, the top job in the county scene in 2010, and you were putting your panel, I suppose Michael was one of those experienced leaders. And when you met the Clare panel for the first time, I suppose the likes of him, I suppose the likes of Rory Donnelly, Gordon O'Kelly, Ger Quinlan, I suppose these were the boys that you had to sort of, the senior players in the team. I suppose Michael was probably one of the driving forces as the Clare panel at the time.
Yeah, we were quite fortunate in that period, 2010 to 2012. We had a lot of leaders on the team, And when you name a few of them, Gerard Quinlan jump out, Gordon Kelly jump out, Joe Hayes, David Tuberty, Rory Donnelly, Michael O'Shea. When you look at the likes of David Tuberty, Michael O'Shea, and Rory Donnelly in your forward line, that's as good as what was out there with any other county in the country at that time. And I look back, and it's amazing when you go into the lockdown period of the last 5 or 6 weeks. You reflect back and you look back at old videos that you would have had from the Kilmurray Brickin days, and motivational videos we would have put together even for the Clare team. And there was one in particular that jumped out at us when we were in Division 4 and we were pushing for promotion that year. And we had a difficult game in Carlow up in Dr. Cullen Park. A game that Carlow were going well, we were going well, and we needed to win up there to bring it to the last game of the season against Wicklow. And Michael O'Shea, between himself and Gary Brennan, manufactured a fantastic goal. And it was only looking at the video, and poor Michael, now rest in peace, when he turned away after scoring the goal, it was one of those goals where the last pass was just palmed into the net. But when he turned away, you could actually zone in on the look on his face and the determination of what it meant to him. And that's what he was as a Kilkee player and as a Clare player. He really, really gave everything to the cause. I remember back even the Munster final of 2012, where we played Cork. We had a fantastic victory against Limerick in the semi-final. And even though we were beaten that day, we took the game to Cork. People said, where we would have played blank defence. No, with that quality of forward that we had, we said no, we were going to go at them. And yes, we conceded 3 goals in the game that ultimately put a loss on the scoreline for them, but we created a number of goal scoring opportunities ourselves. And probably one of Michael's best displays of that year in 2012, he scored 4 points on the day.
And I suppose, Michael, in terms of Michael O'Shea in relation to being in the panel dealing with youngsters coming off minors and under 21 squads into your panel, was he sort of a role model? Was he a player that youngsters would go to advice, especially young forwards, that they could go to Michael, have a word, he'd give them a bit of advice? Was he a sort of a leader in that sort of sense? Was he very approachable for panel members?
He would be. As regards his leadership qualities, was really down to his performances, because he was a very individualistic type of player. You could turn the clock back to, I think, was it Kevin, the guy from Mayo a number of years ago with the blondie hair.
Yeah.
Michael was very similar to him. He was very individualistic with his own skills as well. And when he got the ball, you knew something was going to happen. Other players, you'd know it was more of a team game for them, but Michael had a habit of making things happen himself, and that was one of his real leadership qualities, is his performances as well.
And I suppose, Michael, you see now Clare in the lofty lights of Division 2, and often it was a case of momentum. If Clare had got over the line, that momentum could have carried them on. You probably look at some of those forwards you mentioned, Rory Donnelly, sort of Gerard Quinlan, Michael O'Shea. There's no doubt some of those players would have been at home even today in Division 2.
Yeah, we were very unfortunate in that 3 years that I was involved. Every year we took it to the last game of the year to be in the shout for promotion. First year in particular, the last kick of the game could have got us promoted against Limerick in Cusack Park, and David Tuberty hit a free just off the inside of the post and came back out as well, which ultimately, if we had to win it, we were there. We went up to Wicklow on the last day of the year, really on form for promotion as well, and we lost Gary Brennan through a back injury about 40 minutes into the game while he was dominating the midfield position. Again, had a big impact. And when the team, even though we were in Division 4, we really deserved to be above it, because within that 3 years, in one of the qualifiers in the All-Ireland series, we ran down to a point, and the previous year they were in the All-Ireland final. Yeah. And it was a game, I remember young Connor Lavery making a goal line clearance from Lawrence Healy in the last minute of the game to put them through to the next round. So we had some big performances that were way above what Division 4 was about.
And I suppose, Michael, after your tenure as Clare football manager, you still very much go to see an awful lot of Clare club games, go to see an awful lot of Clare inter-county games. And I suppose after 2011, 2012 for Kilkee, the team sort of aged, were on the decline, as the rocky slopes, as they say, but they still managed to defy the odds for many of years. And probably towards 2014, 2015, when many people tipped Kilkee to drop down to intermediate standards, they're always able to produce that one big game. And Michael O'Shea was always a catalyst to that. They beat Kilmurray Arbrickin in one championship, and Kilmurray were hotly contested to save themselves. And another day they beat Doonbeg, fairly fancy Doonbeg team as well. So even in those days, while Kilkee weren't the lofty heights with the likes of Michael O'Shea and David Russell, on any given day they had the potential to eke out that performance to guarantee survival. And Michael O'Shea was a catalyst to that.
He was. They always had very skillful footballers, Kilkee, and you knew when you were playing them that you were going to be in a real game of football. And even back to when we talk about Michael O'Shea and David Russell, a number of their top players have contributed so much to Clare football over the last 10 years. You go back to Baby John, Michael Galvin, David Russell and Dennis Russell as well, and Michael as well. There were fantastic county men as well. That was Ger Keane as well. I remember going back to see the goal that himself and Martin Daly manufactured in another era when I was involved with John O'Keefe. And they were just, whenever they came in to the county setup, they give tremendous commitment and 100% commitment all the time. And they had great pride in their jersey. Go back to West Clare and you take Kilrush and Kilkee, no matter where they were in sort of development and losing players and maybe the players not coming through from underage, you did well and you'd know all about it to beat them, regardless of what they had out on the field.
Yeah, I suppose, Michael, we just another true Kilkee great got lost this year. Kieran Barnan, who was the successful manager, won the 2005 Jack Daly Championship. And just watching a video about that, they were talking about having a young team, talented minors, 9 or 10 coming through, and that they were looking ahead, that they felt they were going to be there and competing in the top ranks for the next 10 or 12 years. It just goes to show you, in Clare club football, you have to cherish the time when you're on the top, because you just don't know when that time might fall away. Like for Liscannor, another team that you would, a formidable team that you came across, to see both of them now down in the ranks, the junior, it must be scarce for you to believe that as well, like two traditional powerhouses of football.
Well, they're traditional powerhouses, yes, but you have to look at the population shift in County Clare in particular. A lot of the employment is based towards Shannon and the Ennis region, and a lot of these lads are moving in and maybe settling down and getting married and maybe living in Ennis, and a lot of them are lost at their clubs as well. And when you look at the population of Kilkee, Kilrush, Doonbeg, it has been taking a hammering over the last number of years, and not alone are a lot of their players being lost to their clubs, but maybe lost to the county as well. That a number of them are moving to Dublin, and a number of them have emigrated, a number of them moving abroad between England, Europe and beyond. And that was the big hit to traditional stronghold clubs that were there. You take the development over the last maybe 10 to 15 years of Cratloe, because again of the population shift towards maybe Aero, Cratloe, and of course you can't beat Kilmurray Arbrickin. They're always going to be thereabouts. They have a great academy of young lads being produced year on year. They contested a great county final with Milltown, which I was at this year. May have won it the first day, maybe missed their chance, and Milltown showed that the second day out. But for a team that was probably written off coming into it, they really stood up and were counted as well.
Yeah, I suppose, Michael, before I just touch on the last bit in relation to talking about the Clare's campaign and whether you feel that the league should be finished in relation to the Inter-County League before Championship. I know a number of top-tier Division 1 counties feel that the Championship should go ahead and the league should be postponed. But for other counties down the tiers, I suppose it matters an awful lot in terms of leagues finish. But just to touch back on the Michael O'Shea Memorial Fund, the draw will take place on May the 9th. You can go to Kilkee Twitter page, you can see, and you can get all the information to gofundme.com, Michael O'Shea Memorial. If you donate more than €15 to a great cause, you'll go in the draw for a piece of equipment from the Clare GA football team, whether it's a jersey or top. All 38 players have nominated a jersey. They've so far 17,000 has been raised, and it's going to the West Clare Cancer Centre in Kilkee and the Regina Pavital Centre in Kilrush. And I suppose lastly, Michael, for last 5 minutes, I suppose during going around all the media circles this week is the thought of what's going to happen in relation to if there is a championship going to take place in the autumn or late autumn time. An awful lot of counties saying if the club season is finished, suspend inter-county leagues. An awful lot of counties like Dublin, Tyrone, Galway saying they just want Division 1 counties, they want the championship to go ahead. But for counties maybe in Division 2 or Division 3, do you think it's imperative that if any inter-county football is played before the end of the year, is that the leagues have to finish the remaining 2 rounds?
Number one, the health and well-being of all players and their families has to take top priority. And I think what Leo Varadkar came out with the other night is maybe providing hope and solace to a lot of GA players that's out there more so than anything else. It's going to be very, very difficult to see any football played in 2020, even early into 2021, because we just don't know what every week is going to bring. Personally, I would give my right arm to be training a football team at the moment, and rather than covering sessions on Zoom. But on the other side, can we see an inter-county scene played without spectators? 15 on 15 in Crow Park would be an eerie feeling, and I don't think any players would really warm to it either. And I think really, unless you get it back to what the GA is all about, is the passion, the commitment, the supporters, the camaraderie with everyone. Because even when you look at over the last number of weeks, the GA community have really stepped up to the plate big time. You look at 17,000 raised for Michael O'Shea's memorial as well. It just goes to show what the GA community is all about, is that togetherness. And when the call is made, it's always there. Even for funerals in different times, it's the GA club that provides the parking facilities, the supervision, the stewarding. That's what the GA is all about. And I think it would be unfair maybe for games to go ahead and for those supporters that follow their teams day in and day out to miss out as well. And I think until it's back to what it should be, maybe my view would be it wouldn't have the same benefit or same effect or the same drive or passion that we talk about the GA through and through.
On that note, Michael McDermott, a pleasure talking to you to raise awareness and to promote the Michael O'Shea Memorial Fund. Thanks a million, Michael.